favorite
It's a
part?
very unique index. It doesn't refer to page numbers.
Huh.
It refers to letters.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman,
And if you're just
Logan
to
Crawford.
investigators, they now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're heading way up north for a fun, fact-packed Arctic adventure that turns the alphabet into a science discovery journey. We're talking with a terrific author. Her name is Juli-Ann Gasper, and she joins us to discuss her amazing book called Way Up North Where the Kittiwakes Play, an A to Z read-aloud book filled with more than 200 scientific vocabulary terms, kid-friendly explanations, and conversation-starting questions for families. From algae to barnacles to walruses, whales, and greenhouse gases, this book makes learning science feel like play. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team for helping us put her on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Juli-Ann, thank you so much for joining me here today.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
It's
always fun to talk about my book.
I'm sure it's fun to talk about your book. Your book is a fun book. Tell me what inspired it. Talk about the inspiration a little bit.
Well, when my husband and I traveled, we had a neighbor that took care of our house and fed the animals and the fish and so on. And I always brought back an alphabet book, like North Dakota alphabet book or New Hampshire alphabet book. And on this particular journey on ship, the ship's gift shop had nothing for children other than stuffed animals. And we all know how many stuffies are too many.
Yep.
So when I got back, I thought, I need to continue this tradition of giving them the alphabet book for taking care of our house. So that's why I wrote the book.
Awesome. That's great. Now, you took a trip up to the Arctic. I was there this summer. It's spectacular, isn't it?
Yes. The colors are wonderful. And yes, we did a shipboard expedition around the Svalbard archipelago, which is halfway between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole. And we were there in the summer, so we had full daylight, 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Which was interesting, but it means you can see everything any time of day. You can go out on board and look at the icebergs and the mountains and the sea and the animals.
And the light is really beautiful up there.
Yes.
I was there in late August, early September, and it was coming in at a gorgeous angle. And the sun never fully sets when you're there in the summer. So it's kind of like hanging at the horizon. So it's kind of a beautiful twilight. Is that what it's like?
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So that was the inspiration. You wanted to get a book on the Arctic A to Z. It didn't exist. So here you are. You want to make one yourself. So talk to us about what it was like creating the book.
What I did was go through all my notes from the lectures on board and pick out words, alphabetize all the words I could find. And then I would go through all the words that began with A and decide what would appeal to a child to learn about. And then I would research that letter and
then elaborate on it and explain to the children in a way they can understand.
Might have to cut that out. Yeah, I would research and put on the second page for information for adults. So the book, I'm going to show you what it looks like here.
Sure.
So each page, each letter has the letter page for the child.
Right.
And then the big words page for the adult. And so
Wonderful.
when the child and the adult read it together, which is the intent of the book, is that the adult and the child read it together. And the letter page for the children has creative thinking questions for them so that they can come up with ideas that they might have. And sometimes their ideas are totally different from what the adult may have been thinking. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting concept for discussion between the adult and the child.
And I think it's great that both are learning simultaneously. The
Yes.
children are learning on one level, the adults are learning on another. And this is a whole new land. This is a whole new world up there in the Arctic. So there is a lot to learn about the environment, about the different ecosystems and the different animals as well. So I think you've done great work. What was your favorite part of the book to create?
The index.
Okay. Why was the
It,
index your favorite
it's a
part?
very unique index. It doesn't refer to page numbers.
Huh.
It refers to letters. So
Okay.
if you look up archipelago, you'll certainly find the letter A, but then it's discussed several other places in the book. So it might also show the letter A and the letter H and the letter Z. So the child who's interested in reindeer can find reindeer mentioned several different places in the book. And so that makes it unique because it's using letters instead of page numbers.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's great. The critical thinking questions that you have are wonderful as well. Tell us why you included those.
Because so many books that the kids read, it's read to them, and they don't really have the opportunity to explore the ideas because you're reading on to the next page and on to the next page. And this allows the students to explore the ideas with their adult. And sometimes the adults have perspectives that the children hadn't thought of.
Yeah.
And often the children have perspectives that the adult hadn't thought of. So that gives them a basis for discussion.
Exactly. Yeah, children can really comprehend anything if it's broken down and explained to them in the right terms, don't you think?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, there is just, I
They're
think
smarter. They're much smarter than we realize.
exactly. Yeah, I think they can really grasp any concept if explained. And their only handicap they have is the fact that they haven't been exposed to the vocabulary that you and I have.
Right.
But explain it to them in the right terms, they got it. Maybe better than you and I've got it.
I'll give you a story.
Okay.
The neighbor that I wrote this for, her youngest son was 3 at the time that I gave them the book. And the letter S features the word scat, which is poop. And so she and her 3-year-old were reading that. And she called me the next day and she said, "You need to warn any mother who has a 3-year-old she's reading this to about the S page, because I caught my 3-year-old this morning exploring the scat from last night's dinner. And guess what we had last night?" I said, "Corn." She said, "Yep." So he was only 3 and he understood the concept of what goes in comes out the other way. And she didn't realize that he would understand that.
Exactly, exactly. Well, you taught me something about this book. In the title, I had to look up what a kittiwake was. I had no idea. I'd never heard that before. So tell the folks at home what kittiwakes are.
A kittiwake is a seabird, and its call sounds like its name. It's kittiwake,
Yeah.
kittiwake. And so
Amazing.
that's where the common name comes from. Of course, there's a scientific name, but I don't know those.
Exactly, exactly. Well, that's enough to know. I think that's great. And I read the same thing when I looked up exactly what kittiwakes are. Tell me a little bit about what impressed you most when you were in the Arctic. Was it the light? Was it the water? Was it the animals? Was it the birds? Was it the food?
The tininess of the plants. Because they have a very short growing season. There are no trees.
Yeah.
in Svalbard. They can't survive. There are small bushes and shrubs, but there's no trees. And the flowers that bloom during the blooming season are an inch tall off the ground, and the blossom is half an inch wide. And that's very common size for all of the plants that are there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. The plant life is different. The fjords to me were just spectacular. The bodies of water were amazing, and the light, of course. I think the sunlight is what impressed me most. So, has this started something new in you? Are you a children's author now? Are you going to be writing other books?
Yes,
Tell
I
us.
am. I have 2 more books on the way. One is New Zealand, and the second one is Antarctica. So 2 years ago, we went on an expedition that went all the way around New Zealand and stopped at various places and went on land and explored. And then a year ago, just a year ago right now, we were in Antarctica. And that was really very exciting trip.
Well, that is wonderful. So this is great. So now you're traveling with a purpose. You're not only taking a trip to an exotic place like New Zealand or Antarctica, but you're writing about it. So your brain's working differently when you're working on something, right?
Yeah, that almost makes it harder to enjoy the experience, because my brain is saying, well, that could be a letter in my alphabet book.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think you've done a great job with this, because it could have been as simple as, a kid's picture of an archipelago and an A, and then a brief explanation. But instead, you made it multi-layered, where the parents are learning, the children are learning. There's beautiful artwork in there as well. Tell us a little bit about the images in the book.
Those are photos. Almost all of them are photos that my husband and I took on the trip. At the back of the book, there's also a page that acknowledges the photos that some other folks gave me permission to use. Other folks that were on the trip gave me permission to use those images. So those are all acknowledged in the back of the book, but 90% of the photos are from Joe and I taking them.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. Well, you and Joe go to some wonderful places. You got me beat. I haven't been to New Zealand. I haven't been to Antarctica. They're on the bucket list, of course.
Okay.
What other places are you thinking about exploring now that you've got this mission to inform children and families around the world about the different creatures and ecosystems? Where else do you think you might travel?
Well, we're both interested in Scotland, Ireland, the Great Britain area, and Norway. All of the Norway and Sweden and Finland.
Okay, you got a lot of places to go.
We don't have any particular plans yet, but we'll try to get there.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I've been to most of those places. We do a lot of train journeys, my wife and I. So we will get a Euro-rail pass and take the train from city to city, and spectacular. One of the most beautiful places I saw in Europe, and you might want to do an alphabet book about this, was Denmark and Copenhagen. Was absolutely spectacular. And Finland's beautiful too. So this is great. You and Joe have a new passion. Soon will you be getting a co-author credit, or not just yet?
No, he gets photography credit.
Okay, that sounds good. Men get enough credit anyway. Sometimes their wives got to get the credit, right?
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Before we leave you today, anything else you want the folks at home to know about Way Up North, where the Kittiwakes play?
Well, one of the things that I have added to the book in the years since the expedition is discussion of climate change effects on the animals and plants and geology of the Arctic North. Folks my age, I'm not sure how old you are, but folks
I'm young.
my age,
I'm like 28.
Yeah, right. We did not do a really good job of taking care of our Earth. And so I really hope that the book brings to light some of the important things about climate change and what kids need to know in order to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
The idea that reindeer in the Arctic in Svalbard have shorter legs than reindeer in other parts of the world because they need to be closer to the ground so that they don't lose as much heat. And that is changing. The length of the legs is changing. So that's something that's it is involved in evolution. And so understanding the effects of weather and wind currents and sea currents and temperature, how that changes everything. Yeah. Another example is the red fox. The Arctic fox, the red fox is impinging on the Arctic fox's ecological place in the environment because the Arctic is warming up. The red fox is coming farther north. And so that's taking over a lot of the area that the Arctic fox uses for hunting and raising their children. So that's another example of something that's changing very rapidly. That you can see in the data over just the last 2 decades.
Amazing, amazing. Well, you're doing a great job informing families, young people, and children about the changes, the ecosystems, and these wonderful places to explore and learn about and preserve and conserve. The name of the book we've been talking about today is Way Up North, Where the Kittiwakes Play. It proves the alphabet can be an adventure packed with science, wonder, and conversations that bring families closer while they learn. Juli-Ann, thank you so much for joining me here today.
You're welcome. It was fun.
It's fun having you on the show. You did a great job on the book and a great job on the interview. I appreciate your passion for the environment and our beautiful planet. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.